After his victory in UFC 285, Jon Jones had to use the restroom. Inside the restroom, he saw Ciryl Gane, who was crying in the toilet stall. He told Jon Jones that he knew he had cheated somehow and that he would get his revenge at any cost. Jon Jones laughed it off and made goat noises at Ciryl Gane and did his makeup in the mirror for the UFC after party. At the after party, Jon Jones ran into his best friend, Russell Westbrook, who had been traded to the LA Clippers by Lebron James. He could see Russ was clearly upset, and he told Jon that he was sick of being traded and he just wanted to ball out. Jon told Russ it's okay, that the Clippers might even be a good team, and he could possibly bench ride the team to a championship if he kept his hopes up. I mean, after all, they do have Kawhi Leonard, who is a pretty good basketball player. They partied long into the night, and Jon Jones forgot all about Ciryl Gane and what he said in the restroom earlier that day. Early the next morning, Jon Jones received a phone call. It was Russell Westbrook. He told Jon he had been captured by LeBron James and was going to be traded back to the Houston Rockets if he didn't come save him. Jon Jones knew the Houston Rockets were trash and didn't want to see Russ end his career in Houston. As Jon Jones listened to Russell Westbrook crying over the phone that he could probably still average a triple-double if he played for the Clippers another season, he knew he had to act fast. He quickly got dressed and drove his Batmobile out to LeBron James's mansion, where he thought Russell Westbrook was being held captive. Jon Jones, who was still groggy from the partying last night, ended up slamming his Batmobile into another car. Jon knew this was a felony, so he grabbed his penis enlargement pills and his gun from the wrecked automobile and fled the scene on foot to LeBron James's mansion. He arrived at LeBron James's mansion and looked through the window and saw Russ chained to the bench in the basketball court. Jon was weak from the car crash and the partying from last night, so he decided to take some penis enlargement pills for some much-needed strength. He knew the pills were probably not approved by USADA, so he read the label and they seemed legit. So he took some because he didn't want to see his friend being traded to the Houston Rockets because they were trash. Jon Jones burst through the window and Gane charged at Jon, but Jon was fueled by the strength of penis enlargement pills and quickly overpowered him. During the scuffle, Jon Jones lost his gun, and LeBron James quickly grabbed it and pointed it at Jon and told him to let Ciryl Gane go. LeBron James told Jon Jones that Russ cost him the 2022 playoffs, and he could not afford to lose another championship, and the Clippers were too strong with Kawhi and Russ. Suddenly, during the commotion, Anthony Davis charged into the basketball court and began to run towards Jon Jones, but he was immediately injured. LeBron knew Anthony Davis would probably miss the playoffs that year because his foot was kind of sore. Anthony Davis lied on the basketball court unconscious from a sore foot, and LeBron just shook his head in disbelief. Seizing the opportunity from the distraction and still high on penis enlargement pills, Jon Jones quickly stole the gun from LeBron and pointed the gun straight at him. He told LeBron James to let Russ go or he would pull the trigger. LeBron James laughed and said, "You can't kill me. I'm LeBron James." And Jon knew he was right. Suddenly, LeBron James started flopping around on the ground, and immediately Jon Jones was called for a technical foul. The referee took the gun from Jon Jones, and LeBron James shot his free throws. LeBron told Jon Jones that he wouldn't trade Russ to the Houston Rockets if he would rematch Ciryl Gane at the next UFC and beat him. Jon Jones knew the Houston Rockets were trash, but he also knew Ciryl Gane was trash. So he agreed to fight Gane at the next UFC pay-per-view. Jon Jones began training for his rematch against Ciryl Gane He spent countless hours in the gym working on this grappling, striking, and conditioning. But he also couldn't resist the temptation of penis enlargement pills, and he continued to take them throughout his training camp. John was pretty sure that the penis enlargement pills were legit since he read the label, so he brushed it off and continued to train. During the day of the fight, he went to the locker room, and Russell Westbrook was there, crossing up Jon Jones's cornermen and working on his three-point game. Russ airballed every single shot, and he looked pretty sad and distressed, but he glanced at Jon Jones and immediately began to smile. Jon Jones reassured Russ that he would win the fight and that he wouldn't be traded to the Houston Rockets, who were trash. As John entered the ring, he could see LeBron James sitting in the VIP section, surrounded by his henchmen, staring at Jon Jones. Kawhi Leonard was in the front row, or maybe it was just a robot or a statue or something. Jon Jones couldn't tell because of the lack of facial expressions and movement. As the fight started, Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane circled each other cautiously. Both fighters were looking for an opening. Ciryl Gane landed a few jabs, but Jon Jones was able to avoid any significant damage. Jon Jones decided to take the fight to the ground and try to sink in a rear naked choke on Gane, but Gane was able to get back to his feet. As the round drew close, Jones went for a takedown again, but Gane stuffed it and landed a knee right on the temple of Jon Jones. Jon Jones, in a moment of pain, looked out at the crowd and saw Kawhi Leonard, and was convinced he wasn't even a real person. Kawhi Leonard just sat there emotionless and barely moving, and John thought to himself that this is probably just a cardboard cutout placed there by LeBron James to distract him from the fight. In his moment of pain and distraction, Gane got Jon Jones in a rear naked choke, and John was fading fast, but the bell sounded, and Jon Jones got out of the round. Jon Jones knew that he was losing the fight, and he had to do something quick. So he went back to his corner and took a swig of water, which had been laced with penis enlargement pills. During the next round, Jon Jones felt the power of the penis enlargement pills running through his body, and landed a devastating knee to Ciryl Gane, knocking him out and winning the fight. Jon Jones had defended his title and made his way back to the locker room, but USADA tested Jon Jones' urine sample and found traces of the banned substance, which they later confirmed to be an active ingredient in his penis enlargement pills. Jon Jones was stripped of the title, and Ciryl Gane was declared the new heavyweight champion. John was suspended from competition for 2 years, and to make matters worse, LeBron James completed a trade for Russell Westbrook to be traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, leaving John feeling both defeated and betrayed. The next day, Jon Jones heard a ring at the doorbell, so he went to answer it, and it was Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi just kind of stood there emotionless and staring into the distance. He looked at Jon Jones and just kind of shrugged and walked away. John was confused, and he decided to take some time away from fighting, reflect on his actions, and work on his personal growth. He decided that it would be a good idea to open a cannabis dispensary in the heart of Cleveland, where Russell Westbrook was playing basketball. Jon Jones's cannabis dispensary became more and more popular. People from all over Cleveland would come to his shop and buy their favorite strains of marijuana and chat with John about the latest development in sports. John knew the Cleveland Cavaliers were trash without LeBron James, but his dear friend Russ, who had been traded there by LeBron James, was winning every game from the bench. Russ was having a lot of fun coming off the bench, so John decided to get season tickets and go to the games and support his friend. To everyone's surprise, the Cavaliers made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Championship, and John was excited. He knew that this would be a tough matchup, but he had faith in his friend Russ and the rest of the team. John continued to attend every game, cheering loudly and holding up fan signs for Russ that read, "Westbrook is the king of Cleveland's bench." Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, the LA Lakers had advanced to the NBA Finals, and it was looking like the 57-year-old LeBron James was ready to win another title. The Cleveland Cavaliers would end up making it to the NBA Finals while Russell Westbrook rode the bench, supporting his team and cheering them on. Despite the intense pressure of the NBA Finals, Russ remained optimistic while sitting on the bench, cheering his team on, and ready to contribute to his team's success. In Game 7, with just seconds left on the clock, and the score tied, the Cavaliers had one last chance to win it all. Russ came off the bench for the final shot, and he threw up an air ball from half court because he was trash. And the LA Lakers, led by the 62-year-old LeBron James, went on to win another championship. During the offseason, LeBron James made a shocking announcement that he was trading Russell Westbrook to John Jones's cannabis dispensary. At first, John was hesitant about taking on a basketball player as an employee, since he knew that Russ was trash. But he knew if things didn't work out, he could make some moves before the trade deadline and acquire some new help for the shop, or maybe even get a couple late-round draft picks for the store. As the days went on, John and Russ began to spend more and more time outside of work. They bonded over their love of basketball and cannabis. Before they knew it, they had fallen head over heels in love. And John Jones didn't want to trade Russ anymore. Their romance was unconventional, but they didn't care. They were both happy, and that's all that mattered. John and Russ knew they had something special. They even had a basketball-themed wedding, with guests wearing jerseys and shooting hoops during their reception. Together, their business thrived, and they used their money to start a charity that helped provide marijuana edibles to the homeless. As they sat there, smoking a joint, watching a basketball game, Russ knew that he would never be traded. Russ found his true home with the dispensary and his new loving husband, John Jones. As they cuddled together on the couch, smoking a joint, watching the game, John couldn't help but feel grateful for the unexpected turn his life had taken. He never expected to find love in a basketball player, let alone one that he thought was trash. But Russ had proven to be so much more than trash. He was kind, loving, and fiercely loyal. John knew that his life was forever changed. He had saved his lover and his best friend. They ended up having a baby together or something, and they clearly loved each other, I guess. So, yeah, I guess that's the story, and I'm high as shit, so I'm gonna go get something to eat. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I love you. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll keep making stories up when I get really high, and I'll share them with you. Thanks for listening to my story, and until next time, I'll talk to you later, or something. Bye now.